everyone, and welcome to Thorough Newspaper Analysis brought to you by LawSikho. So, today we'll be discussing two articles. First is from the Hindu. So, basically, this is not an editorial, rather, you will find it on the page number 5, which is about the West news, west side of the country. So, the title is New Research Sheds Light on Declining Star Formation in Milky Way. So, as we know that being living on the planet Earth, so Earth is a part of the galaxy Milky Way. So, from some time, it has been realized that the uh, formation of stars or the speed of formation of stars has slowed down significantly. So, research has been done on that, and it's really important to know about it. Secondly, is from the second article is from the Indian Express, the real population worry. So this article actually talks about the fertility rate, the decline in the fertility rate that we are facing in India, but still along with it, the sex ratio is also declining, and which is not a good news for us. And what are the reasons behind it are discussed in this article. And next, that this is third one, we have news in flash, which would discuss these short and crisp news points more important for our prelims exam. So if you're also preparing for judicial services exam, do have a look at our courses that we have for you. So we have the Lord of the courses, which we call it as it is a judiciary test prep course. So the link to this course is available in the description box. And from the landing page of this course, you can download free study material for yourself as well. Then we are also excelling in various other courses like for CLAT and All India Bar Exam, etc. You can also have a look at them. Let's see what is the multiple choice question for the day. Which of the following neighboring countries of India has or have performed better than India in the Global Hunger Index 2020? First, Bangladesh. Second, Pakistan. Third, only one, that is Bangladesh. Or D, both A and B. Descriptive question. It is important to maintain an acceptable sex ratio in order to achieve equality and prosperity in the real sense. Discuss. So you need to jot down the importance of having a good or an equitable sex ratio if you really would want to achieve equality and prosperity in the society. With this, let's discuss the first article for the day, which talks about the declining star formation. So, a team of astronomers from Pune based National Center for Radio Astrophysics and Raman Research Institute of Bengaluru, so all of them, like a team of from both the institutions, have made a study on the mystery behind declining star formation activity in Milky Way. Now, as we know that there are various galaxies in this universe, and the one in which we live in, as in the one of which our solar system or the Earth is a part of, is the Milky Way galaxy. It is really huge, and in that there is this continuing process of formation of new stars. Now, as we know that if the stars get older due to various other universal forces, many stars get destroyed as well. But then again, the universe replicates, and it builds itself when more new and new stars are formed with time. But now, from some point of time or from some years, it has been noted that the speed of formation of new stars in this galaxy of Milky Way has declined. That is, new stars are being formed at a very slow rate. So, a study for that entire thing was done by these two institutions, and it was published in the journal that is the most famous journal for science and technology related aspects, is the Nature. So, let's see that what are the details of the study. Firstly, the cause of the decline was unknown. So till now, we were not able to understand as to why the cause, what is causing this decline rate of the formation of stars, and there is no data regarding the amount of atomic hydrogen gas in the galaxies. Now, the very reason behind this is that basically. This article tells that it is the atomic hydrogen gas which ultimately it is like the fuel for formation of new stars. So if in a way a new star has to be formed, so it would use the atomic hydrogen gas which is available over there, and using that it would be formed in a new star. But we did not have any accurate data as to calculate the correct amount of hydrogen or the atomic hydrogen gas which is available in this galaxy. And due to that, we were not able to understand as to how many stars would be formed if we have this considerable amount of atomic hydrogen gas. Then secondly, this is the most important point over here, that which device was actually used for this. Now, obviously, to calculate these things or to find out about these things, we need some device that is really, really strong. And for that matter, we use the GMRT, which is the Giant Meter Wave Radio Telescope, and it helped to measure the atomic hydrogen content of galaxies seen 8 billion years ago. So basically, it was like a complete analysis or a comparative study which was done. And now, with the help of this GMRT device or the Giant Meter Wave Radio Telescope, we were now actually able to calculate the amount of atomic hydrogen that is available in this galaxy. And one thing that we need to remember is that we'll deal this in the next one, not to be confused here. So the galaxies are made up of most of gases and stars, and gas converts into stars. Now, as I just discussed, that it is this atomic hydrogen gas that actually is used as a fuel for the formation of new stars. So like for example, just for example, if one atomic mass of gas makes one star, so if you would have 100 of atomic masses of gas, so you would be able to make 100 stars, as in the universe would be able to make 100 stars out of that. So it is simply as much the gas you would have, as much hydrogen atomic hydrogen gas would be there in the galaxy, that how many the stars will be created by the galaxy. So the young galaxies produce a higher rate of stars. Now, this study has told that obviously when the galaxies are young, so if we talk about the Milky Way, so about 8 to 10 billion years ago, it was considered to be a young galaxy. So at that point of time, the amount of atomic hydrogen gas that was available in this galaxy was huge. So it was in a lot of content, in a huge amount. And due to this enormous availability of this atomic hydrogen gas, more and more stars were very rapidly formed. And now, since this galaxy is becoming older, now we have like moved 8 to 10 billions ahead of that time. So obviously, a lot of atomic hydrogen gas has been already consumed. And since we do not have a lot of this gas left in this galaxy, like we have a lot, not like that, but as compared to the previous scenario. So since it has decreased, that is the reason why the star formation or the rate of formation of new stars has also declined. So the atomic hydrogen's wavelength is 21 centimeter and can only be detected by radio telescopes. So this was a point that I mentioned beforehand, that we need to keep in mind, that the reason why we used a DMRT, that is GMRT, that is a giant meter wave radio telescope, is because that the gas which we actually are trying to detect, the amount of this gas actually emits out the radio wavelength. Like if we talk about, we said that the universe more or less it comprises of gas and stars. So stars emit out optical. Now since they can shine, so they emit out optical wavelength. So for receiving the wavelength coming from the stars, we need optical devices, some optical telescopes for that matter. But if we want to calculate or study the gases that are available, so gases radiate out radio wavelength, and that is why we needed a device that could actually intercept or take in the radio wavelengths, and that is why we used the GMRT, which is a radio telescope. So this point is really important, can be a very potential prelims question as well. So what happened was that the weak signal is difficult to detect from giant distant galaxies. Now there were two factors that were running in this regard. Firstly, the Milky Way galaxy is very, very huge, and as we know that with time it is also expanding. So if we would want to calculate the distance that we have of this entire, the entire area that we want to cover as compared to where we are on the earth currently, this is a very long distance. So already such long distance is really not easy to be covered through any kind of telescopes or devices. So this was the first point. And secondly, as we have already discussed, that the amount of this atomic hydrogen gas has already decreased in this galaxy. So obviously the signals that would be received would be lessened, or in a way they would be very weak. So it was not really easy for the devices on Earth to intercept or to understand the signals or receive the signals very efficiently. And to solve this problem, the very technique that was used was stacking. Now this also can be a very potential prelims question, as to like stacking was seen in news. So what do you mean by stacking? So this term or this technology of stacking was used, wherein the scientists combined the signals from nearly 8,000 galaxies, and then through an estimated or through a measuring the average, they could understand as to how much atomic gas is there. So if we would wanted to study the gas available in Milky Way alone, it was not really possible due to these weak signals. But then they tagged a lot of approximately 8,000 galaxies, and then they took out an average amount of hydrogen gas available. So this was solved using the upgraded GMRT. So this problem has now been solved using GMRT, because now this is a very, very strong telescope that can be used in this regard. So basically, let's see what was the conclusion of the study. So due to the intense star formation in the early galaxies such as Milky Way, their atomic gas would have been consumed by star formation in 1 or 2 billion years. So that is the current conclusion that we have had. So this should be understood as to what is the fuel for the star formation. So it is the atomic hydrogen gas. So this needs to be kept in mind. With this, let's discuss the second article for the day, which talks about India's population future. Now, two things in this article have been discussed at length. Firstly, the declining fertility rate. So by fertility rate, we simply mean as to what is the rate, or like a fertile woman would be giving birth to how many children in her fertility period. So that is considered to be as a basic fertility rate. And by sex ratio, we mean that how many females are born per thousand males. So these two studies have come out, and what are the reasons for declining fertility rate as well as the declining sex ratio in India have been discussed. So the Sample Registration System Statistical Report 2018 and also the Global Population Projections by Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation, US, have actually reiterated upon this entire issue. Let's now understand that what has been the data that has been evaluated through these reports. Firstly, declining total fertility rate, which is also called as TFR in short form. So in 2018, it was 2.2 from 2.4 in 2011. So as we know that this is done keeping in mind a huge population. That is why many times in the estimates they fall in decimals as well. So please don't get confused as to what would be the meaning of 2.2 or 2.4. So this on an average means like 2, like the rate is 2.2 or 2.4. So simply is a rate and not the number of babies exactly. So because 2.2 or 2.4 cannot be a number of baby, the number of babies. So this is the growth rate which is calculated in such manner. So then in 2018, 14 states had total fertility rate below the replacement level. That is 11 states in 2011. So by a replacement level, we simply mean that a level that is considered to be quite, a stable one. But still in 14 states, the TFR was below the replacement level. And if we talk about the population growth rate, so it declined from 1.47 in 2011 to 1.38 in 2018. And India's population peak is estimated to reach 161 crores in 2061. It is like if we have this medium rate of fertility according to the UN Population Division, and 160 crores in 2048 according to the Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation. Basically, all these statistics and data, you do not need to really recall them because it's really difficult to remember such numbers. Just that the increasing or falling trends of these ratios or these indices or these reports should be kept in mind in order to evaluate any answer. Then illiterate women in reproductive age, like from 15 to 49 years, have higher fertility rate. Now here a very good comparison has been drawn between the literacy and the fertility rate, as in they have said or they have found out that women who were illiterate or like they were not really involved into the education or education related stuff, they tend to have more or higher fertility rate, which means that the states where the illiteracy level amongst women especially is lower, the population of these states is higher. And then an example has been given of the states like Bihar as well. It has the highest fertility rate. And also, like here, the example of contraceptive, like or the comparison of the lowest contraceptive prevalence is given. But then again, the use of contraceptives is also attached with the education and awareness of the women specifically. And that is why here, if we talk about the contraceptive prevalence or as to what is the rate of contraceptives being used by the couples, or specifically we talk about women. So the total demand for contraceptives is 66.4%. And if we talk about Bihar, it has the highest fertility rate and the lowest consumption of contraceptives as well. So this is something that we can very easily relate to, because obviously lack of education many a times leads to having taboos about using contraceptives, be it the any kind of it can be anything. These can be the pills, these can be basic condoms, or any kind of contraceptives. And these taboos actually end up in having higher fertility rate or greater population. So that is why it is all like a chain of events. And like in the state of Uttar Pradesh also, the contraceptive prevalence is 45.45%, and the total fertility rate is again higher in 2018 as compared to 2011. So it is really important that this proper education about reproductive health as well as contraceptives, and also the importance of education, should be laid down in the youth specifically. And same goes for the sex ratio as well, that it has declined marginally, as currently it is 906 per 1000 male. It was in 2011, and currently we have it 899 females per 1000 male births. So this is really a huge area of concern, and only the states of Kerala and Chhattisgarh in India are doing well in sex ratio. Otherwise all the states, now you may take it to Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, and even Haryana, so these states are really consistently being poor, though some in advances are shown with some time, but still they are a big reason to worry. Now let's see that what are the steps that are needed in this direction. Firstly, we should reach the younger people and provide good quality reproductive health education as well as services, because it is really important, like for a country like India that has approximately 50 to 60% of its population as youth population. So it is important for us to understand the very notion of having good quality reproductive health and information about it, also the education about it. And we should be breaking all the social stigma and taboo that are attached to such uses of contraceptives, of stuff like that. And secondly, we should increase female education and economic prosperity, because obviously, see, and there is a very beautiful relation between all of these things. Like, if we have increased the female education, so the females can also get involved into better family planning and also can be economically strong. Now, once they're economically strong and involved into better family planning, they have a greater say in the family as well as the society. And so they can decide as to how many children do they want to have. Further, education also breaks various social taboo and stigma regarding the contraceptives or the use of these contraceptives, and thus a better future planning or family planning can be done. And women just would not get to tend pregnant even when they did not will to or did not want to, for that matter. And if we talk about the economic prosperity, so this would really help in bringing up the sex ratio that we currently have, as many a times due to the economic crisis, people prefer, like specifically in patriarchal societies like we live in, so they prefer to have male child above a female child, because obviously they think that a female child would bring along a lot of liabilities for dowry and stuff like that, because obviously we are living unfortunately in a society like this. But if we are economically prosperous, then definitely they would not want to distinguish between a male and a female child, because both would be considered to be as an equal asset for the family. So that is why you must have seen that the families that are economically prosperous tend to not differentiate between a child who's a male or a female, and they welcome both kinds of, like both the genders equally. But in the poorer section of the society, though this is not something that is a very hard and fast rule, it still depends upon your personal mentality and outlook towards the people. But then again, if we are more economically prosperous, we tend to think less about these gender differences. So this was all for today. Let's see what do we have for news and flash. So we have only one thing today, which is the Global Hunger Index 2020. So as we know that it is a very, like a situation to be concerned about for India, because just like last year, India has not been doing good either this time, though some improvement has been seen in some stages as compared to last year. But India again has secured 94th rank out of 107 countries in the Global Hunger Index. And just yesterday we discussed that we celebrated or observed the World Food Day, and India had been doing really like exceptionally well in the food production, and is like one of the largest exporters of food grains as well. But ironically, India in hunger index actually rates very poorly. Now the reason here is that having sufficient amount of food is just not enough. Giving that food in correct balance and maintaining the nutrition level is something that creates the entire hunger index. So here the basic or the two most important things that are taken care of are the child wasting and child stunting. So by child wasting, we simply mean that the height, or the weight of that child is not appropriate. So please consider child wasting is associated with the less weight as compared to the age of that child, and child stunting means less height as compared to that age or weight of that child. So in a way, it actually makes the child to grow in an improper manner, which actually ultimately deters or hinders his overall growth of personality. And so this is India, ranking 94th, and all these countries, even Pakistan, as compared to the agriculture or the food security, Pakistan does not really fare well when it's compared to India. But still, if we talk about nutritional level, so Pakistan does well as compared to India, and even Bangladesh and Myanmar, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and China are doing better than India. Just in a neighboring country, Afghanistan, that was one of the nations that actually performed even in a poorer manner than India, but other all nations have done better than us. So with this, we are done for the day. We hope it was a good session for you all. Thank you so much.